Season 25, what a season.
Woo! Look at that! I'm much bigger.
Hey, don't pick him up.
I am shaking.
Watch me reach up, pull the sun from the sky.
Wow, that's tight.
Waiting for life to arrive. I'm gonna make today mine. I got this feeling of fire inside.
The Bay Area.
Pull the sun from the sky. I'm always waiting for life to
Oh, look at this.
I'm gonna make today mine.
So those are some of our top moments from season 25.
It was amazing adventure. We have created so many family memories in this mini Winnie. The RV is the vessel that gets you there, so you really bond to it, and it's hard to say goodbye.
Really, what's next? Because season 25 is coming to a close, season 26, and then we're gonna talk about season 27 today, about what's down the road. But first, what went right? What went wrong? What did we learn? Is this a good fit for you if you're thinking about taking a road trip? Okay, so for us, family of 4, looking to do a couple of months, even a couple of weeks, wanting to move fast, go long distances, this layout nailed it. We loved where we got to go and what we got to do in this RV. First, the big thing we got right compared to like the van in Hawaii was the sleeping space above the cab.
When we were picking out a layout, this was like a must-have for us. And after 2 months on the road, yes, we needed this extra space for the kids. A dedicated sleeping space, even a dedicated, hey, we can't move around in here right now. We gotta cook dinner, we gotta clean, we got things we need to do. We need you all to just go and read in your bed and have that like getaway space.
I think we also nailed it on the actual length of the RV. 24 feet is like the magical number. I know for California at least, there were so many campgrounds where it's 24 feet or less. There were times we needed to back in, you could be able to overhang quite a bit. So the length, nailed it. The layout, nailed it. So I think this was really good for us, our family of 4. And when you're going through, is this a good fit or not, or what do I do, travel trailer, motorhome? 2 things. Number 1, how often are you going to be changing locations? We change location on average, I'd say about every 2 nights. So we were moving fast. And then the second thing is, how far are you going to go? So we were going a very long distance, 2,400 miles from Tennessee to where we ended up in California. The first question of how long you're staying determines your length. We stayed a short amount of time. So shorter RV came in handier because it doesn't take as long to pack up. It's not as stressful on travel days, the whole thing. And then whether or not it's a motorhome or some sort of towable, like a travel trailer or 5th wheel, is determined by the second factor, how far are you going? So the farther you go, especially when you have kids or especially if you're trying to make a good time, a motorhome is awesome for that. And I think this really nailed it as far as those 2 criteria for where we're at. If you're staying longer, if you're not going far, I don't see a reason. Don't get a 24-foot Class C because this thing got smaller every day.
I would have kept going. Nathan was done.
But what are some things that you would change, or you think that maybe we didn't nail it on, or maybe just some modifications to the RV that would have made a big difference?
We went with not having slides just to keep it simple and easy, and that was awesome as far as travel days when we needed to move fast. Slides are nice, but it's one more thing to break and it's one more thing to kind of have to like worry about, right? We did talk about what if we would have got one with a slide in the back and had the extra room for the bed. Nathan apparently says I like to sleep in the middle, but we have a king, so this is like my space typically in our 5th wheel. So I think he said, man, I really would have enjoyed the extra bed space.
It seemed like we rarely used the entire U-dinette space. And by having U-dinette, they look cool. If you have a large family, it could come in handy. If this was a regular dinette, this would be 3 to 5 inches in, and it probably wouldn't be as wide.
Yeah, we fought over these spots here because nobody wanted to like move into the middle. So yeah, these were the coveted, hey, let me have that in spot.
So as far as would you rathers, I would rather have a dinette than this, because every single inch when you're in this small of a space really matters. The regular dinette will make a bed too, but I think it's also not as long, which means you get more storage.
It would be nicer to have a larger fridge.
So if you go, this is a 2018. I don't know what year they started, maybe 2020-ish. They started, seems like, going more with the 10 cubit on the fridge size. You have the option for a convection, because we essentially we stored stuff under there a lot. I just don't know if using it once or twice in 8 weeks justifies, I don't know, what do you think in this small of a space?
To have a convection
Convection
oven?
Instead of the oven, still have the stovetop, of course.
Yeah, I think that would have been doable too. I mean, the propane just, it's hit or miss if it cooks evenly. Get a stone. I don't think it was a huge deal though. I mean, counter space was probably more of an issue than the cooking space. If we got like a flip up counter or something there, would have been nice to have the additional counter space, but.
I'm not gonna say we didn't nail it on this because this isn't standard, but like, I think we thought, oh, we don't need it. And we did put 2 Battleborn lithium batteries in here, and that was a game changer because turns out we're like, oh, we have a generator, right? Like, who needs a bunch of batteries? Who needs a bunch of solar? Well, turns out when you're short like this and you're trying to get into the state parks and national parks, you're camped more often in places where there aren't RVs. The generator hours were in the middle of the day while we're gone, you know, and the solar's nice, but we're in the woods a lot. Having more solar would have helped, more battery power would have helped. But do know, if nothing else, if you're gonna travel on your road trip the way we traveled on our road trip with something this short, there's a good chance that generator may not be used as much as you think it's gonna be used. And even if you can use it, sometimes you're surrounded by tent campers and you just feel bad.
We didn't think, hey, we're probably gonna be the largest one in there, and there's maybe not even gonna be a ton of RVs. So that was a big surprise to us, and we definitely didn't use the generator like we were thinking we would, just out of courtesy. So yeah, those batteries were amazing.
We actually didn't use this ladder. Early on I was like, that's gonna take up so much space because the ladder comes right here. Our kids are pretty good climbers, so we just took the ladder out because I knew we're moving so fast. Ladder up, ladder down, ladder up, ladder down. We just took the ladder out. We didn't even take it with us. The kids just climbed up and down right here. This space, actually this stayed down. Seemed like a lot. We didn't put that up and down as much either. We just left it because it was easier. I covered these. It was a lot of light coming in. So I actually used blackout curtains and covered these to make it darker in here. This one and the one in the back, which I know Marissa really appreciated.
Hey, we love our sunlight and we love our skylights, but we also love our sleep and we like it to be dark.
So just a few minor modifications. Nothing major. The RV was ready to go. But like Marissa mentioned, with a slide in the back, we were curious what that feels like. You might be curious, so let's go check one out. Because we're at Lazy Days, we can just walk over there and check one out. We're gonna show you a couple different layouts that they're very interesting, where you can still stay at this length. Pros and cons. This is one that's a little bit different. So this is a 24R. Well, to me, there's some other options that are the same length as this that we'll show that have a little more privacy, but this is pretty cool because this is a Murphy bed. This could fold up. You have this huge space. You got this one slide. Again, look at all the space we're gonna get with a dinette.
I know, the slide makes a huge difference. Like, we walked in and I was like, this is much larger. Nathan's like, no, it's pretty similar.
This is only a foot longer than what we have.
Yeah, so first off, I noticed a lot more counter space, a lot more slide room, which would be nice. The Murphy bed is like, there's pros and cons with that. I don't know how I feel about having to remake the bed every single day, but then I also love that this can be put away and used as a couch space because we're not using the bed during the day. So that's actually, I'm torn with that. You get the convection, so that takes away the propane oven and gives you a lot more storage. So that's pretty cool there with the convection.
I think we like that better. I think one of our needs and something we didn't like, just a little bit more of a private sleeping space would be nice.
Yeah, after 2 months with the kids that are literally
a week or two, but
like, show Nathan, this is where they were.
They'd just be looking at us.
And this is where we were. So I think if we were to do it again, maybe we would want at least some kind of curtain or some kind of, so they're not sitting there staring at us all night.
This is a cool bonus. Both these seats look like they flip around. You can put a table here if you want. Because the slide comes out, you have that option.
That's great.
That's really cool. But this is key. Like, and I like what they did. They got the little storage in the back with the net, because that's almost
nice.
Useless space anyways.
Yeah, our kids are small, so they're flexible. You also get this flip-up counter.
This is something I wish we talked about when we first got our Class C. We're like, why then have a flip-up counter?
Just having this tiny little space would have made a huge difference, because I had 0 counter space. This one gives you great counter space. But definitely that would make a huge difference in the kitchen.
Again, season 26, we're actually still working out where we're gonna go, what we're gonna do. Chances are it'll be in the 5th wheel. But season 27, Marissa has a location picked out that we're not gonna share yet. We'll let you kind of guess as it gets closer and closer to that. But it's gonna be for winter of this year / next year. It's gonna involve a long distance, but the difference is I think we're gonna stay in spots a little bit longer. So because we're going to long distance, because we're staying in spaces a little longer, we're thinking motorhome, long distance, but maybe a little bit longer motorhome than 24 feet. Probably in that 30 foot range.
Suck it in.
27 DSE. So Forest River makes this. Each brand is going to make their own version of this. This is on the E450, so ours is on the E350, a little beefier chassis, but still a van chassis. You get this front, so this is more of a Class C instead of, I don't know if you call the others like a B plus, or, you know, here's the Solera here. You kind of see a little bit of a difference with the Mercedes front. Then, like, look how much bigger the bed area is on this. But it's not on the diesel engine, you're not gonna get the same mileage. The build quality is usually not quite as good as what's on the Mercedes chassis, so pros and cons on those too. All right, you ready to show it?
Oh, I'm ready. Yeah.
27 DSE, I'm guessing this is around 30 feet. This is kind of what we're thinking for season 27.
We're just brainstorming.
Ooh, so a lot of it's checked off here.
Yeah, so first off, I noticed this, which is wonderful. This is nice.
Yeah, look at that.
They did the convection here, so the convection's good. 3 burners, lots of counter space.
Here's the up top space. Look at the difference in the space in that than what we just looked at. It's just a bigger space. You're going to pay for it in mileage a little bit. We have not talked about mileage yet. I know that's one of the big questions. What do we spend in fuel and what do we get per mile? I like the dinette.
It's got the pull
Yes,
out
that was one of our
drawers.
things that we wish we had in ours.
I mean, it's going to be smaller storage. Ours was more large and cavernous, but the
I would rather have the smaller, more accessible storage than a large cavernous space that's really hard to get to.
I don't know if you remember when we were packing the Class C and I brought my new blender that I was so excited about. It's a little bit bigger than I expected.
Thing is like half your height.
It's as big as our toddler.
It's heavy too.
I did not anticipate it being this large. I think I got it out 3 times because it was under the seat and it was so hard to get in and out. So it definitely makes you think about things when it's harder to get to, and then you just don't get it out because of that.
So again, this is like 30-ish feet instead of 24 or 25. So it's 5 feet longer, but going 5 feet longer and adding a slide, well, not one slide, but actually 2 slides, this is the difference in what it makes. Because again, we would not be moving quite as fast. We're okay with adding more slides. And even at 24 feet, they have some options. We talked about this in another video, but you kind of get a little bedroom back here. When you have this slide,
right,
you get walk around space. So again, they make this at 24, 25 feet on some of the models too. You know, not a lot of walk around space, but you can walk around. And the bed, I think, is usually slightly bigger in some of these. I don't know about this one in particular, but I have seen some that are more like a queen size. And then the slide just comes in while you're going down the road, and not a huge deal.
Does the mattress have to do that because of the slide?
Yeah, because it comes in, it just sort of slides up over. So I think for us, one thing we would have changed is that I think the pros and cons would have been worth it in this case to have one slide, one small slide at 24 feet to do California that could come in and out, because when that's in, it's not going to impact, you know, the rest of our walk around space. And that's what we didn't like, was when a slide comes in and it impacts your walk around space.
I don't know, Nathan.
You think you're not feeling that?
That was a
well, have I shown you yet? Like
that
this,
is true.
Here,
there
let me
is.
see. So look, this, she hasn't seen this yet. There you go. The kids are not staring at you now. That's what you also get with this layout. Not that it's impossible on the other one, but I don't know. You're not sure though. You're not sold?
Well, I mean, it's just the slide. I love the slides.
I think this would be our
the
area. Maybe
ease
the
of
kids
not
store.
having them was so great.
It was nice.
But
It was nice.
I don't know. I'm torn.
So Marissa's not sure, but I would have preferred. I think I would have preferred one small slide in the back. but the bang for the buck. The rest of it, I think if we just had the regular dinette instead of the U-dinette, that'd be good enough to help with their walk space and stuff. Yeah, this is, I don't know, what are you thinking, Marissa? Again, not season 26, but season 27. What about something, what are you thinking about something this size?
I don't know. It's like space versus travel days, right? It's pros and cons of RV life. I don't know. Could you do 3 months in it?
I think it'd be easier than what we had. We went a lot of miles in this. It wasn't just Tennessee to California, it was all around California too. So a lot of miles there. Like we went about 7,500 miles. The mileage varied. Sometimes it was 6 to 8 miles per gallon with the Jeep behind us, and more like 8 to 12 without the Jeep behind us, which wasn't very often. So most of the time we're only getting 6 to 8 miles per gallon. And then
Do you regret towing a Jeep?
Oh, it's not wanting to go in gear. Ah, we gotta push it?
No, well, I think if I had to go back, I wouldn't have towed the Jeep.
I would tow the Jeep.
So I knew that was coming. It was just,
I loved having the Jeep.
she loved seeing it in that camera in the front, knowing it was
I know, and there was just a few. There was like these amazing places that we couldn't have gone without.
There were a
the
couple.
Jeep.
There were a couple, but
I think it could be done without it. So if you want to do a road trip, I think yes, you wouldn't have to tow. But I loved it, and I was happy with it. What did you think about our setup?
it was good.
Good
I think it was
setup.
good. It was good. I think if we're going to tow something, the Jeep's what I would have wanted. It's not a super cheap time to go across the country and go to California. But we spent, you ready for the number? We spent
No. Everybody sit down. Don't be drinking something because you might spit it out. But yeah,
So
hold
we
on
spent-
to your seats.
We spent $4,400 in fuel in 2 months. There's no way around it. It's a lot of money in fuel.
But the thing is, because we wanted this little Class C to get in all these state and national parks, we actually saved money on our lodging. So what we typically spend in these private parks with our fifth wheel, honestly, you know, kind of not 100% evens out, but it does save money in that aspect of like we spent more in fuel, but then we saved in lodging dramatically because private parks in California are not cheap, but state and national parks are very affordable.
It was somewhere in like the $800 to $1,000 range is what we spent in lodging.
2 months.
For 2 months,
Yeah.
which, I mean, good grief.
2 months in
So if
California.
you look at that, where it was like, I don't know, $5,000, $5,500, would you go to California for 2 months and see the places we did for fuel and lodging costing $5,000, $5,500 for the whole family? And again, that's 2 months. That's not 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, pretty epic. What did you learn? Because this was a crazy experience. We changed it up big time. It was an awesome road trip we did. What's one thing you learned?
Man, I learned so much.
You can't say everything. You got to pick one.
Man, I got to pick one. I mean, we learned a lot. We learned a
did.
lot about travel. We learned a lot about ourselves. We're capable of more than we think we are. I mean, when we started this, we're like, will we be able to do this small space? Will we go crazy? Is this crazy? And I think over time I learned that we're so much more capable, that getting out, it pushed us outside more. And honestly, it bonded our children so much. And I think that was a surprise that I didn't, because they live in an RV. They travel together 24/7. But the bond that we saw with them because of the closeness over this trip, I'm telling you, it was worth cutting down the square footage just to see them like grow as siblings. And the RV life is great for, I think, bonding for kids anyway, but this was just magnified. Small spaces magnify everything.
When we got back in Tennessee, if there had been a film crew there waiting for us,
Oh,
filming
I
us,
filmed
and
some of it, Nathan. Hensley, where are you?
Right?
I can smell it. You smell that new RV smell, Hensley? Take a whiff. Take a whiff of that new RV smell. It smells like new RV. I love it. Good.
Feels
good. Oh, it feels so good.
Oh, it feels good.
Rest on the couch. Rest on the couch because it just makes you feel more at home. Try it, Mommy.
You would have thought we were faking it. We were so excited to be back and have that. We're like, look at the living room and kitchen. Look at the shower.
We missed our RV, yeah.
It made us appreciate the space that we had. And I think any adventure you go on, when you downsize and when you push yourself, it makes you appreciate what you already have. What was your favorite part of the road trip? Favorite part of season 25?
Oh man.
I know. The most unexpected though was getting to do Half Dome. I mean, I was so bummed that
She was walking around pouting.
I wanted to do it so bad. It was on my bucket list, and it was right there, and I didn't think we were gonna get to accomplish it. And the fact that they put up the cables a week early, and we got to do that together and spend our 10-year on top of Half Dome. I mean, epic.
That was a really, really awesome stop. Just a really refreshing stop, I think, for us. It's hard to say because everything was so different. I mean, when you're staying in the redwoods, and you're staying, around the sequoias, and you're staying in Yosemite, like it's just so different. But it's something about that spot with that vibe was awesome. My favorite, I'll say at least favorite place. I don't know. It's hard to even pick a favorite place, but I think just because the place we were at fit the pace that we needed at the time. But like Sea Cliffs, and that was really hard. I don't know if we emphasized enough how hard it was to get into some of these places we got into, but we got lucky and somebody canceled a week at Sea Cliffs, and we only used 3 of those nights. But I wish we'd been there for a week, 2 weeks. It was so relaxing hearing the ocean outside of our window. That spot, that vibe, and then everything in the area with Monterey and things to do.
And this has just been an epic adventure. The last 2 months in this road trip and this mini Winnie, I think it exceeded my expectations. Like, we had so many adventures that we could not have done this road trip without it.
This would have been a totally different season.
Totally different experience. Like
totally
the
different.
things we were able to do and see and really immerse ourselves in, and the amount we were able to see because of the flexibility of this RV, amazing, and highly recommend Class C travel because we've loved it. It has made travel days so much easier, and man, I mean, we've talked about how awesome this RV is for road trips for sure.
So that's it for season 25. Season 26 is on the way. If you want to binge watch season 25, we're going to link to the whole playlist for season 25. Awesome.
Emotional here. Man, I don't want to say goodbye. It's hard.
This is a hard time of goodbyes.
Yeah.
It's
man, we're really going to miss this. I'm really going to miss it.
until next time, we'll catch you guys later.